Hey there, welcome or welcome back to the Scaling Season podcast. I am your host, Joly Tematio, and today I've got a good one for you. We are going to talk about what's actually required to grow your sales without necessarily having to spend more on marketing. We are going to talk about retargeting strategies that are proven to explode your sales. The reason why I am compelled to record this session is because we've recently worked with a client and we helped them literally grow their sale by $53,000 per month by implementing what I'm going to share with you in this strategy. So if you're a business owner, you're an entrepreneur, you are in the marketing space and you are really looking for proven ways to make your marketing work better, attract higher quality prospects. You have an offer that converts well, that solves a real problem, but you are just unsure about what should be the best next step to get you better quality prospect, higher conversions, more sales, grow your impact, grow your profit. This is going to be a must for you, right? And the reason why I'm saying so, if it's the first time you come across the podcast, my name is Joly Tematio, and I've been in the online marketing space for the past 4 years now, working behind the scenes with personal brands, businesses, really helping them scale in income and impact using paid ads primarily. So I'm a paid ad expert. That's what I do all day, every day with my client, really on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, helping them, scale their brand, their visibility and their impact, with paid ads. So this is one thing that I feel like it's heavily overlooked by tons of business owners because typically, business owners are always thinking about how can I get more leads? How can I get more traffic? How can I get more, right? We always think about how can I just increase my ad spend? How can I scale my ad spend so I can get more results? And it seems like it's the only way where most people go about when it comes to growing sales. And what I see lacking a lot in the industry, at least the conversation that I see that's not being had at the moment is really, okay, how can I actually do more with what I already have instead of wanting to always put more at the top of the funnel? How can I actually turn my ad spend into real profit? So that's why we are going to talk about here how to use retargeting in order to make that happen. Now, if you are really familiar with the concept of retargeting, it basically means that we are showing your message, your marketing message in front of your prospect that are familiar with your brand. Maybe they're in your email list, maybe they've seen your content organically, or they've stumbled across one of your ads. They've landed on your page, whether that's your opt-in page, sales page, but for whatever reason they haven't purchased your program. They haven't pulled the trigger basically, right? So we really use retargeting here as kind of a reminder to make them to remind them that if there's an action that they haven't taken, but that they should because it's in their best interest. So that's in a nutshell what remarketing means, or it's also called retargeting. It's literally, I'm probably going to use them interchangeably during this conversation. So if you hear me say retargeting or remarketing, I'm literally talking about the same thing. So where do we start? How do we do it? So first and foremost, the reason why we want to leverage retargeting in a very smart way, like I'm going to share with you in this episode, is most of your prospects are distracted, right? They land on your page, they are even on your checkout page, but something pops up and they get distracted and then just move on to the next thing. And so the reason why you want to have targeting in your process is because you want to stay top of mind for those people, right? You want to tell them, okay, I see that you had interest, but you didn't move forward. Why is that? And here's why you should actually come back to the page and move forward actually. And so last week, for instance, I was working with a client that was spending about 3,500 to 4,500 on their ads on average, right? And the campaign was profitable. They were having a solid ROI. They were having like a 2.8x ROI on the ad spend. And they were really looking to cross a 3.5, 4x ROI on their, because they knew they could do so much better, right? And so as I just dug deeper into the campaign, the data, and really the back end in terms of the sales, I really discovered that about 81% of people that actually landed on their page, right, on their sales page, didn't actually watch the video on page. So they had a really beautiful page design with a highly produced video sales letter, but only about 19% of people that actually landed on page actually went ahead and watched the whole thing. So which means that they were literally losing about 81% of their traffic on that page. And that was literally the page where the founder was talking about the product, making the offer, and inviting them to take the next step, which in this case was really to go ahead and schedule a call and, work with the team with the company. And so looking at that, we said, okay, instead of trying to scale your ad spend, let's first start by fixing this bottleneck in terms of why are these people not actually converting? Why are they not actually buying? Because here's what you want to think about your marketing when you are looking at your data, right? If people are landing on your prospect, if people are landing on your page, it means that they have shown interest. They've clicked on your ad. It means that they've shown interest. They've landed on your page, means that they've shown interest. They've shown intent, but they are not going forward and doing the next step, which is buying, which means that there's something that's not working for them. And you always want to match the consumption format to whatever works best for your client. So you don't want to be so stuck in the way in which you do things that you are only willing to do them in one way, because it's going to lead you to losing a lot in terms of money, basically, right? So what was happening with this company specifically is that they didn't have the capacity to actually have a full-blown written sales page, right, with a long form copy, and they felt like, okay, for the founder it was just easier to make a video sales letter because she was really good at video. And so that's what they did. But it was costing the company so much, not knowing how, not taking the time and not having this knowledge. Okay, let's turn this video sales letter, or turn this marketing message into a long form sales letter. It was costing them a lot of money. So that's what we started by doing. We said, okay, within 72 hours of really implementing what we call today like the opportunity framework, like the pocket opportunity framework, we turn that 81% wasted traffic into a gold mine of revenue, and they actually were able to scale their revenue within 30 days. So if they had an additional $52,000 in sales, right? And the best part of this whole strategy is that it took us two things. The first thing was turning, like I said initially, turning that video, having a split test and really testing the VSL page against a long form written, sales letter. The second thing that we did was actually allocating a $10 a day ad budget to our marketing campaign, right? Now, before I go deeper into actually how, like the nitty gritty of how we did this, I just want to make sure something clear, right? The purpose of this podcast is really to make this marketing advertising information accessible, because what I see as I work with more and more companies and I get into their business and I look at what the bottlenecks are, I feel like there's a massive gap between what people expect, what some people expect from the marketing and their knowledge, right? And typically what I see a lot happening is that business owners that are lacking the time, the resources, the capacity to actually learn how to do marketing, they just trust their budget, their company to someone, like whether that's someone that they've hired on the platform or an agency or what have you, and they have no real way of tracking what's happening behind the scenes. So they are just like, for them, it's like a black box, this whole marketing thing, and they just hope for the best. And I've seen business owners tell me, oh, if we get a 2x ROI on our ads, it's the most we can do. And I'm like, who told you that? Why are you not aiming for more with your marketing? Why don't you think that you can actually get a 4x and 8x ROI with your ad spend? So that's really why I'm making this episode, because I want to make this knowledge accessible for business owner, entrepreneur, because no matter what business you are in, you are fundamentally a marketing company, because unless you can make your offer, your message, your brand seen, you are not going to be able to have the revenue that you are looking for, the freedom that you are looking for, and also the impact that you've started this whole thing to have, right? So having really nailing down your marketing, or at least understanding how things are supposed to be done and why you should do them in a certain way, it's going to make you way more knowledgeable, way more confident as well when you're having this conversation, and you're also going to be able to hire the best marketer, consultant for your company. So that's the whole purpose of making this podcast. Now, let's get back to the strategy actually, right? And so coming from someone like me who has, I've been doing this for the past 4 years, really managing millions of ad spend for clients and really helping them scale from seven figure a month, 6 figure a month, 8 figure years. I've seen really a lot of things, what works, what doesn't work, what stopped working, what's not working as well as it used to. So what I'm going to share with you here is really something that's battle tested. It's more of like, it's not like a tactic is more of a principle, right? Because if you understand how human psychology works, you're going to really understand why this works well. And it works really no matter in which industry you sell, no matter what your price point, no matter who you sell to, no matter what your offer, it really works across the board. And so I'm not going to share with you like the tactic and the tweaks that you want to make. I'm really going to focus on the principle that's really going to work across the board. Now, if you want me to have a deeper look at what your situation is, feel free to reach out. I'm always happy to do that. But let's dive in, right? Let's really unlock how to discover and profit from these hidden revenue opportunities. Now, I want you to think about your funnel, right? Your ad funnel as like a bucket. And when I say ad funnel, I mean the journey that someone takes from not knowing who you are to buying from you if they've discovered you from an ad, right? So think about that entire journey that we call your ad funnel, that I call your ad funnel. What most business owners and what most marketers do is that they tend to focus on putting more water in the bucket, right? It's like if your ad funnel is like a bucket at the top of the bucket, on top of the funnel, right? It's quite big, and most marketers are always focusing on how can I put more water in the bucket, which means more ad spend, more traffic, more lead, right? And you're going to see messaging like we are going to help you get more leads, we're going to help you get more call schedule, we're going to help you get more, right? But what if I told you that there are actually dozens, right, of small pockets where value is leaking out, right? Wherever you is leaking out. And each one of those like small pocket or small like holes that you have in your bucket can literally be turned into a profitable micro campaign, right? And so when coming back to this client that we talk about, when we came and worked with them, they were stuck at 2.8x ROI for several months. And they were like, I know this offer. They told me occasionally, we know this offer is working. We know people want it, but we are struggling to crack the code when it comes to getting them to actually get through the funnel. And while auditing the funnel, it became clear to me that the fact that people were dropping after the video, like they were not going beyond, most people were not going beyond actually 91% of people that landed on the page were not watching the entire thing. I was like, okay, you know what? This is our biggest opportunity. This is our biggest hole in your funnel, in your bucket. If we fix this, everything else is irrelevant. And you want to think about, when you look at your bucket, you want to think, okay, where are the holes and what's my biggest hole, right? What's the big domino? Because sometimes, as I said before, if you think about your ad funnel as like a bucket, you have several little holes in your bucket. And what's going to happen is that typically business owners are going to try to fix everything. Okay, let me try to close all of these holes. We don't want that. We want to ask yourself, okay, what's the biggest one? What's the big domino that if I fix, right, everything else becomes less painful for me to experience, because this is the hole from which my bucket is leaking the most. And so for this client, instead of focusing on let's change the layout of the page, let's change the button color, um let's change the headline or what have you. We said, okay, people are landing here, they are clicking, but they're not watching the whole thing. So let's actually change the consumption format of the content, right? Let's go from a video to a written long form sales page. So that's the thing, because they had already great ads, their offer was solid, and their campaign was profitable. And that's really where advertising becomes a sweet spot between, like, it becomes a delicate balance between art and science, because in order to take the right action, you have to be able to identify what's the problem causing the lack of result in your process, right? And so for them, instead of, again, we did that change and allow them to really scale things further a whole lot faster without having to spend more. Why? Because we ask ourselves, what do we know about these people? What do we know about this traffic, this lead that are landing on the page? They've clicked on our ads, they've shown interest, they've landed on the page, they've shown intent, but they just didn't want to watch the video, right? Instead of why do we force them on the same path, right? Because what people will do here, they will say, okay, let's run a retargeting campaign to everyone that has landed on the page but that hasn't scheduled a call, and let's send them back again to the same page. That's what I see a lot of business owners and a lot of marketers do. And while that's a great start, what happens when you do so is that you are not really changing um the consumption format, right? You're not really addressing the pain point. Okay, you've sent them a targeting ad, but you send them back to the same page. What if they're going to come back there and be like, oh, I've watched this, or I've seen this video, but I don't want to watch it actually. Let me just skip. Let me just bounce, right? So you want to change the consumption format. That's which was what we did, which is what we did. And now this is where the magic really happens, right? We created a contextual marketing messaging for this retargeting campaign, right? Because again, we're speaking to a very specific demographic. Because as a marketer, you want to remember that, or as a business owner, you want to remember that your messaging has to match your market segment, right? You can't have, or you should, ideally, you don't want to have the same messaging for everyone in your target audience because your prospects are at a different stage in their buying journey. And so what we did here, we actually contextualized our marketing message to the level of awareness and the level of readiness of the target audience. And so if someone has landed on the page, they've seen the offer or they've seen the headline, but they haven't gone through the whole thing, we are going to share them a very different message than if they've maybe been on the call, but haven't closed for whatever reason, which is also a very different message than if they've just seen your ads on Facebook, but they haven't clicked on anything. So in this case, specifically, we had two different sub audiences that we created. We created an audience for those that actually landed on the page, but they didn't watch beyond they didn't watch up to the offer because we can, when you insert your pixel on the page, you can also have a pixel that tracks how long someone stays on the page and how much of the video they consume, right? So we created two sub agencies, one for those that actually landed on the page but didn't watch the whole thing, and one those that actually watched the video but actually they did go ahead and schedule a call. Because for those two segments we had different call to action. The first one was, okay, go here and check out our offer, for those that actually didn't watch the whole thing. If they had watched the whole thing but actually they didn't schedule a call or they didn't shop for the call, the thing was really, hey, go here and actually schedule your call. You have a last chance, a last opportunity to actually make it happen. And for the first group, for the first sub segment, we will send them to the long form sales page, and for the second segment we will send them to the calendar scheduling page, right? So that's how and for each of those campaign we had $10 ad spend daily budget, right? And so that really allowed us to increase about 52% increase in conversion rate from that lost traffic. Okay. And the beauty of having this pocket of opportunities that they are everywhere in your funnel, it really requires you to take some time to actually go through your entire funnel with a new pair of eyes and really be very critical about what you see and what the leaks are in your funnel. And it can be a lot of things. And so here are here are three key areas where you can look for these opportunities in your funnel. The first one are people that have seen your video, so video viewers who didn't click through and went on your page. Those are people that you can actually target because they've shown interest, but they were not compelled enough to take action. And so here you can create a separate audience, a custom audience in the ads manager for them, and really hit them with different hooks, and maybe a different headline as well. If your first campaign, for instance, use an educational video, you can have this retargeting campaign use a testimonial video, a tutorial style content, maybe a more of a lifestyle content or what have you, but change to switch things up to see if you capture their attention better. The second area where you can actually look for these opportunities is for page visitor that did engage on your page. So like in our VSL example, they've landed on the page, they've showed intent, but they just needed a different format. That's why we actually tested a long form content. You could also put a, for instance, carousel ad. You could even test a different lead magnet to see to see if that actually drives better result. Oh my God, I can't speak. It's been a while since I've actually recorded the podcast episode. So that's why my voice is a little bit like, I'm out of practice. And so the third key area where you actually can do this is with form, right? People that have fill out your form, but they didn't complete the form. And these are really golden opportunity because if they started filling out your form but they didn't convert, you can actually target them with objection handling content. And it's the same if they've been on your checkout page but they haven't purchased. So objection handling content, answering the frequently asked question, showing testimonial of what people actually said about your program. And what we found even better recently is really showing them behind the scenes of what your program looks like and what the community aspect looks like, because people more and more are looking for more than just information. They're looking for just and for more than just a bunch of modules and bunch of course content, especially now with AI and everything can be learned online. So really emphasizing the community aspect, the coaching aspect, if you offer coaching, the support aspect, and how that has been pivotal in helping your clients succeed can be really powerful way to actually get them to engage. So show them behind the scenes of what your product, your offer actually looks like after the purchase. So these are great material for your retargeting campaign. So now that we have these uh tricky areas, there are so much more, right? Those are just the main one that comes to mind. But I just want you to look at your funnel with critical eyes. And the key here is really to keep your daily ad budget small. You don't have to spend the hundreds or dollar a day. You can really start small with like 10, even $5 a day. I really advise 10, anywhere from $5 to $15. You're good. The goal here is that we are not really trying to scale this to the max, right? We are really trying to maximize efficiency, right? Think of them as really highly targeted strike that are way more potent than the broad campaign that are designed to get people inside your funnel in the first place, right? So these are really there to convert more rather than just bringing awareness, okay? And one thing which I want to say, because this is something that I see most business owners getting wrong when it comes to their retargeting strategy, is you don't want to create one. I think maybe I've mentioned it before, but you don't really want to create one generic retargeting campaign and call it a day, because the reason why people don't purchase are different, and ideally your marketing should address those different reasons. And you want to have your marketing that's contextual to your target audience. And one thing which I see a lot of people focusing on is really retargeting using ads. But they forget that they can also target using email automation. And that literally it allows you to convert at a higher level without spending a dime, without, spending more on marketing. And how that looks like when you leverage marketing automation as a retargeting tool is that you can apply the if this then that logic, right, in your communication and increase your conversion potential. So for instance, if someone we sign up for our VSL, but they haven't watched the whole thing, or they haven't scheduled a call, let's send them this sequence. If they schedule a call, but they haven't shown up for the call, let's send them this sequence. If they shown up for the call, but they haven't converted, let's send them this sequence. If they've joined our ecosystem, but they haven't bought something within the first 30 days, let's send them this sequence. If they've joined our ecosystem, but they haven't opened our email for the past 30 days, let's drop them in the sequence. So you can really use email as a powerful dynamic targeting tool that allows you to really keep your content relevant and fresh for your audience, depending on where they are in their journey and depending on how familiar they are with your brand. If they've seen your offer but they haven't purchased, what type of sales asset can we send them to increase trust, to increase familiarity, to really build that connection way faster than just relying on ads? Because here's the thing, your ads are bringing people into your ecosystem and they're like a boom. They allow you to explode very fast and get people to notice you and to know your brand. But once people have known your brand and they've seen you, you really want to build trust. And I think that that's also maybe that's literally another episode for another topic for another podcast. But what I see people focusing too much is that they think that ad is going to do everything, right? Having an organic presence, having a backend system process designed to nurture, educate, really build familiarity and trust with your audience is where the money is made. And I've said it a lot of time, but most of our clients actually are making anywhere from 35 to 40% of their sales are coming from the email automation on the back end. So ads are bringing sales, they're bringing people in your ecosystem. That's amazing. But you don't want to sleep on your email marketing, because that's really where the money is made for the long run. Because when you build that community and when you build that sense of trust with your audience, you really become a trusted advisor that they would go to over and over again to get you. That's your free content, your offer, because they would start to trust you and trust your guidance. So you don't really want to overlook that part. The same apply as well for your sales team. If you're having a call funnel, right? Having your sales guy or your sales ability personalize the outreach or the follow-up messages based on the lead engagement with the marketing material, right? So those are just a few things that I've wanted to share with you in this episode. And I hope by now you have a bunch of ideas, running in your mind about how you can actually grow your sales using this powerful targeting framework without having spending a whole lot more on ads. Because the key here is not really about spending. It's not always about spending more. Sometimes it's more about spending, being smarter with every dollar that you spend and thinking, okay, how can I make sure that this dollar is bringing me more than what I've spent in the first place? And how can I actually turn every no into, you know what, let me see this as an opportunity to actually change and be better with my marketing, my messaging to get in my ecosystem the right client. And here, like always, here's our action step for this week. What I want you to do, right? Look at one of your highest traffic funnel. Look at your funnel that's currently bringing the most sales, or your offer that's currently bringing the most sales. How does the funnel look like? And I really want to audit your funnel, right? Identify really some of the leaks in your funnel. Where do you see a break point on your funnel? Is it the CTR? Is it the click through rate on the page on the ad? Is it the opt-in rate? Is it the checkout conversion, right? Is it the scheduling rate? Where are the break point in your funnel? And I want you to ask yourself, what do I know about these people, right? And how can I have a different messaging to bring them back in my funnel? How do I know about this group of people where I see the biggest drop in my funnel? And how can I actually tailor my messaging to them so that I can actually bring them closer and further down my funnel? This exercise is really going to help you so much, really get inside your prospect brain and think from their standpoint and really kind of turn your marketing upside down and really see how you can make it better. And once you figure that out, really you can set up a small campaign, a small targeting campaign just for them. And if you need help when it comes to implementing this strategy in your business, that's what we do all day, every day for our clients. You can reach out to me at Joly Tematio on all social media platforms, or you can just head over to consulting.co and then you can schedule a demo call with myself or the team, and we'll be happy to learn more about your biggest challenges and how we can actually help you get better results with your marketing. So hope you got value from this episode. Join me next week for an amazing episode, which is going to be all about 5 questions to ask yourself to make millions better. It's going to be a juicy one because because it's going to be full of value. Like always, I feel like all of the episodes are juicy, so I think I'm a little bit biased, but it is what it is. Thank you so much for joining me tonight or today. I'm recording this. It's 7:30 p.m. But yeah, it is what it is. Thank you so much for being here. Really value your attention. I hope you got value from this. If there's any question, drop me a question. Reach out to me. If you got value from this one, make sure to subscribe to the podcast if you're not already a subscriber. Share this with someone that it can help, because that's the only way we get to grow this podcast. I will see you on the next one. Until then, keep scaling, keep learning, keep growing, and take care of yourself. Bye bye.